Hello, ladies.
Good morning.
How's everybody?
Still waking up.
Yeah. Oh, you must be on the West Coast.
Arizona.
Mhm. Okay. Well, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us so early. Hi, Kathy. I can't see anybody's cameras right now, but that's okay because I'm going to mute everyone in a couple of minutes and do the quick presentation, sharing my screen, and then I will bring you all back. Oh, there's Lori. Hi. Bring you all back to ask any questions that you may have. So I'm just going to wait, I think, 2 more minutes. So if anybody, Twyla or Kathy, want to put their camera on and unmute themselves and just say hello, you can do that, or you can stay where you are. So we can go from there. Let's see. So I'm going to mute everybody. And I'm going to get started by sharing my screen. Where is my screen? I better find my screen first. Hold on, be right back. There I go. Hi, Kathy. Now, where's my screen? There we go. And start from here. Okay, let's see. What's the time looking like? All right. I've got 12 o'clock noon straight up here in beautiful Wine City, Michigan. Oh my gosh, this is the weather that we have been waiting for, just in time for Memorial Weekend. And it is in the 70s today. And I had to close my door and my windows right now in the front of the house where I am, because otherwise Bubba, my dog, will bark at everybody going by. And there's so many cars, trucks, whatever, going by hauling boats to put in the water because I'm 2 blocks away from Lake Charlevoix. So, and it's a big place to put your boats in the water. So I think it's going to be a really nice and interesting weekend up here because the governor opened part of our state starting this Friday. And the parts of our state include the lower northern Michigan, which is me, Traverse City, and up, as well as the Upper Peninsula. So the rest of Michigan will still be closed. And the only thing that will be open starting on Friday are restaurants at 50% capacity, and bars at the same, and shops, which is up here. We are, most of us, in a vacation town, and so we live for the summer visitors. Not so exciting right now, but since she's lifted the some of the precautions for up here, I know that there's going to be a lot of people from downstate that are going to come up this weekend. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how that all plays out. All right, so let's see. I am going to start sharing my screen. And today we are going to talk about, hold on, let me get to that. All right, so I'm starting to share my screen here, And today we are going to talk about online booking industry and what's going on now with the online booking industry with reservations that you've made or reservations that you may make, and how does it compare to the hotel and the airline industry in terms of booking and refunds and all of that other good stuff. So we're here because we love to travel, and I know that we're going to be traveling soon. When is the biggest question that nobody's been able to answer yet, although I did hear from my chiropractor who heard from somebody else, and I verified it last night, that Sicily, the city in Italy, is going to be offering people half fares to fly there, and then they'll reimburse you for 50% of your flight there, and they'll pay for every third day of your hotel stay. It's going to cost them many millions, but they've already lost many billions in the last few months. And so far on the website, you can't actually get it yet, but they're talking about it. So that's really the first that I've heard of big, huge incentives to come travel internationally. As you know, though, the borders are not yet open, so that's why they can't post when this is going to happen. And people in the US and probably around the world are going to, when they do start traveling, they're going to start traveling more locally, more domestically even. So we're going to talk more about this. For those of you that are familiar with Boomer Women Travel, we've been around since 2012, taking women on trips around the world. And it's for any woman pretty much over 40 that wants to travel, either has no one to go with or is married and their spouse doesn't want to travel or can't travel. They're divorced, they're widowed, they're single, whatever the case may be. Traveling is often so much more fun with girlfriends. So we help you meet other people if you want roommates, and we help you get together. We do all the work, and you just show up and enjoy the trip. And I've been doing that since 2012. So in January of this year, I officially became a member of a host company, Montecito Village Travel and your travel center. And through them, I became a member of the Virtuoso Network. And the Virtuoso Network is a very specialized network of some of the world's finest travel advisors and suppliers. And we specialize in the luxury and experiential travel industry. So we have privileged access to exclusive amenities, travel offers, rare experiences, upgrades, that type of thing that you can't get anywhere else. So this allows me to customize the perfect trips for you. And so in January, I started doing more individual travel for couples, friends, family, group travel, but I'm still going to be doing Boomer Women Travel, and we anticipate being able to go back on the road, if you will, in January of 2021. I don't have anything planned yet, but I'm starting to look at things. So that's pretty much who I am and who we are. And the sources that I've used for these talks, and this is our fifth talk now, our fifth episode, is in addition to my agency affiliations, there's the cruise line industry, there's the International Association of Travel Agents, a lot of organizations and publications. EASA is the European, and we've got some other resources that we haven't cited before that we're going to be using today. So I'll talk about that as we go along. But let's first start by talking about the online travel agencies. If you go online and you start to research them, they're known as OTAs. And basically, they're online companies that, through their web pages, allow travelers to quickly and directly book travel. And instead of having to go to a lot of different websites, they allow you to do a lot of things through their website. They and so the properties and the airlines and all the travel providers pay these companies a commission every time the company, the OTA, sells something for them. And often it's a little bit more than they'd pay us travel agencies. So you want to look and see about pricing in some of these things and if it's really worth it. But I'm going to go through some of the major OTAs or online travel agencies and give you a little bit more information. So if you, for example, want to put your house on Airbnb, or if you're a hotel, or if you're an airline and you want to put your itineraries on one of these, you just submit it. You go online, you submit your information. So all of the information that you see on these OTAs are submitted by the travel provider themselves, not these companies. And the main factors when you're looking at these OTAs is you want to think about what might be extra costs or hidden fees that they're not telling you about. You also want to think about the reputation of that company. Well, we've all heard of Expedia and hotels and booking and kayak, but then there's some on this list, STA and Yatra. That's not to say that they're not reliable, but some of them are less known than others, or they're more known in other markets around the world because these online travel agencies do deal with providers all over the world. So, and another thing is you want to really, really, really make sure that you know the cancellation policies of these places. It can be a huge factor and it's in fine print. I used to book through an agency called Venere.com, which is right here. They're no longer in business. They were bought out by hotels.com, but Venere was primarily for the European market. And what I didn't realize for a while was the taxes and fees that they were charging for me to book hotels were really, really high, because I started going directly to the hotels to see if maybe they could give me a better commission rate, because Venere only paid me maybe 8% of commission. And most hotels pay at least 10% commission. And on a big trip, that can be a little bit of money for a travel agent. And so I come to find out that the same room at the same price is much less because it is half the fees, if you will, that Venere was charging. So you have to really be careful. Taxes are taxes, but really be careful about those fees when you're looking online. And then to further break it down, online travel agencies are also broken down into the online agencies like Booking and Expedia, and their big thing is that they state that they have the cheapest rates. Then you have the travel meta search engines like Google Hotel Ads, Kayak, Trivago. These companies are just really comparison sites. So they'll compare all the different hotels and all the different sites and give you the best rates. There's also review pages like TripAdvisor, who is also considered a meta search engine that compares. Then there's also the hotel brand pages, and we talked about hotels last week. If you go directly to those hotel pages like Marriott, Hilton, Hyatt, they advertise that they have the cheapest price. and they're kind of a priority because of their loyalty programs, which are only accessible if you book directly. So more often, if you book through one of these online travel agencies, you can't get your travel points with the hotel, for example, unless you ask when you get there, and sometimes they will, and sometimes they say, no, we can't give you those because you booked through booking.com. And why they're saying that is because it costs the hotel more to advertise through booking.com, and they can't reward everybody everything. So there's also the peer-to-peer platforms, which are Airbnb, and that's an industry in and of its own that we're going to be talking about. But what I'm seeing on the OTA's websites is if you're booking, if you've got a trip within the next 72 hours that you need to deal with, you need to cancel, you need to reschedule, they're saying call us. But if you have a reservation that's further than 72 hours away, they say, please don't call us. Stick to the internet or the app to get information and make changes if you can. Because if you do try to call any of these places, you know that you will be on hold for hours, and sometimes you'll get disconnected, and then you'll have to be transferred and all of that other good stuff. So they're saying for immediate needs, call them. But they're also saying that if you're booking a future trip, as opposed to maybe just adjusting your existing bookings, most of the online travel agents are going to send you directly to the airline or the hotel that you booked. So in other words, most of these booking engines, most of these online travel agencies will not be able to cancel your reservations or book new, cancel your reservations, but they can book new ones. So it's interesting, and you have to be very careful, especially now during this whole COVID-19 period. So let's talk more about these online travel agencies, if you will. And 86% of that graphic that I showed you, and there's literally hundreds and hundreds of online travel agencies out there, but 86% of the online travel agencies are controlled by two companies, booking.com and Expedia. So it's helpful to know who falls under what area. So basically, these companies are owned by booking.com. And that doesn't mean that they're all going to follow booking.com's policies. But for example, Kayak is one of those organizations that's considered a meta travel search engine. They will compare a lot of other things. Agoda is more, I think, used in around the world. But places like, you see the V, that's VBRO, and HomeAway. Those are places, individuals that are offering their homes or their guest properties, their guest rooms, if you will. And Cheap Flights is another one that falls under the booking.com brand. And so let me just talk a little bit about the differences between these companies and the reach of these companies. So booking.com has over 15,000 employees in 70 countries worldwide and over 28 million reported listings, over 135,000 destinations in 220 countries and locations. So they're pretty vast. They cover there's more agencies than these, but these are more of the common ones. And the thing with all of these agencies is, especially now during COVID-19, but also in the future, they're going to direct you to the airline or the hotel or the car rental agency that you booked. They're not going to be able to handle your cancellation or your refund necessarily. Some of them might do part of it, but they won't be able to do all of it. And so you might be able to cancel due to the circumstances related to the coronavirus, but it really depends on several factors, including your destination, the date you made your booking, the country of origin, the arrival date, the reason you're traveling. So if a cancellation falls under this category, the property has to provide you a refund or offer a free date change or credit you for a future stay. And the way that you're going to find that out is to sign in to the booking agency that you booked with and see if there is an option listed. If there's not, then you just go directly. So if you went to Priceline, let's say, and got tickets for American Airlines, Priceline most of the time will not handle your cancellation or your refund. They're going to send you to American to deal with that. And there's a few other things about Priceline, but Kayak is independently managed, but it is a subsidiary of Booking.com, and they have links to policies by individual airlines, hotel, and car rental companies, but they say go to those websites. We aren't going to be able to help you. Priceline offers more ways to save and more deals than anyone in the industry. They have, tell us how much you want to spend on this flight, and we'll see how close we can come to getting you that price. But for flights, Priceline is urging you to complete your COVID-19 cancellations online if you can. And then your ability to change or cancel your ticket depends on the type of ticket you purchased, and it varies by the airline. So if a cancellation is permitted, you'll see that link within your itinerary on Priceline. And if you've got express deals, that's another situation. Home Away and VBRO, that's also VBRO, vacation rental by owners, what it used to be called, is one of the most popular vacation rental sites in the United States. But there's also other companies underneath the Home Away and the VBRO umbrella, like vacationrentals.com, Holidays. Some of these I can't even pronounce because they're from other countries, stays, but to cancel or change an upcoming reservation, you can do so right from your traveler account, they say. So if you're making changes outside the cancellation policy, they want you to contact the property owner or the manager to discuss your cancellation and refund policies with them. Because remember that places like Home Away and VBRO are individuals like you and me that want to rent out their house for vacationers or rent out a room for vacationers. And so each one of you will make your own rules as to what kind of cancellation fees. These companies will suggest things, but ultimately it's up to the vacation rental owner. And then Cheap Flights says contact the airlines and the travel providers. Then we have our next big owner of umbrella is Expedia. And they have more than 200 travel booking sites in 75 countries. They have over 22,000 employees in 30 countries, 665 properties, 550 airlines, dozens of rental car companies, cruise lines. They have over 1.6 million online bookable vacation rentals. So they're pretty huge. And these are just a few of the companies that fall under the Expedia umbrella. So what Expedia is saying is for air tickets, first try to cancel online from within your trip record on Expedia. Now this is just Expedia. If a fee applies, The website will provide 2 different drop-down menus and links, and then you have to go directly to the airlines. If you're canceling a hotel through Expedia, then that's a whole different thing. They'll send you an email with options to keep or cancel the existing booking. And if you decide to cancel, you'll be eligible for a full refund, or in some cases, a voucher. There's no hard and fast rule on any of these companies. It's not, yes, we will do this 100% of the time. It's, we'll do this in most cases. However, if this exists, you have to do this. And if that exists, you can't get this. So you have to read all of the fine print. Orbitz has the same information, uses the same information as Expedia, so does Travelocity. Trivago, which is one of those meta search providers that only compares price and not bookings, advises users to check with the online travel agent that actually handled your booking. But again, as I said before, once you go there, they may say, okay, but you have to go directly to the hotel or the airline. So, and hotels.com is also an affiliate of Expedia. And they say that they're waiving their change fee for many hotels based on where you're traveling to or from for international bookings. Then they list certain countries, except if you're going to these countries at this time. So again, lots of fine print to be careful of. And TripAdvisor is also a meta, but it's a little bit different because it's the world's largest travel community with over 600 million reviews and options. And so it compares prices, but it also gives you recommendations. And then after all of that, there's Airbnb. And Airbnb is its own entity. It's not under any umbrella yet. They were posed to go public this year. And after they went public, they may have been bought up by another one of these companies, but that's on hold for now due to everything that's going on in the world. But they offer accommodations of millions of places to stay in more than 81,000 cities and 191 countries worldwide. You can list different kinds of properties from apartments to villas, B&Bs, castles, tree houses, everything. You can stay on boats, you can stay, it's really interesting if you have gone or stayed at Airbnb places. But their cancellation policy language, which hasn't been updated since early April, which was updated once before, they say that reservations for stays at Airbnb made on or before March 13th with the check-in date between blah and blah are covered by the policy and may be canceled before check-in. That's so if you made March 14th to May 31st. And then guests who cancel have a variety of cancellation and refund options, and hosts can cancel if they don't want to have people there. I have a friend that was hosting an Airbnb, and she just didn't want anyone in during that couple of month period. Normally, if you cancel out on people, if you're a host and you just cancel for no reason, you'll get bad marks. Your reviews will go down, your ratings will go down, Airbnb will put you down on the chain, but they're not doing that right now. And so in order to cancel, you'll be required to attest to the fact that circumstances and coverages that you qualify for that. So for example, there was a healthcare worker who had to provide a note from her employer during this crazy time stating that she had to work and she was not allowed to leave. So it's not as, it sounds really good, but the reality of Airbnb's refund policy is that the hosts get to decide if they're going to offer a refund, if they're going to let you reschedule. And this is where the policy becomes blurred, because you're talking about millions of people that list their properties through Airbnb, making those decisions. And so it really gets crazy after that. But so if let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit more about cleanliness. Now, we know with hotels and resorts, we discussed it last time, is that they're pretty much mandated by, and they own millions of dollars worth of properties around the world. So a brand like Hilton or a brand like Marriott, they have policies, such strict policies in place, and they're all the same. If you go into a Hilton, you're going to see the same thing in every Hilton you go to around the world in terms of their cleaning policies and their safety for guests. But with online booking agencies, and when you go into those kind of places, it's kind of arbitrary. So they have guidelines. There's an association for vacation rentals called the Vacation Rental Management Association that's put out some recommendations for what they're encouraging their partners to do. And they're saying that you should use accurate, reputable sources of information, including the World Health Organization, the CDC. Make sure you also follow your local regulations, have a protective plan to manage and minimize risks, and implement and enhance cleaning and disinfecting of the property between stays, and then communicate that to the travelers. So to get into a little bit more detail on that, the cleaning and the training, so they say that you should train all of your employees, especially your cleaning. So some of my friends that have Airbnbs, they either do the cleaning themselves or they have a local cleaning person that does it. Now, this local cleaning person or this person themselves may not adhere to the strict standards that a hotel would or some of these other organizations, and you have to be very careful. And cleaning and disinfecting are two different steps. And so the CDC says cleaning removes the germs and the dirt and the impurities by using soap or detergent and water to physically remove it. And disinfecting kills germs by using chemicals. And sanitizing is even different. It lowers the numbers of germs on the surface. And so when you hear cleaning and disinfecting and sanitizing, please remember that they're three different things, and they're not necessarily under the same thing. So they're suggesting that you plan the process of how you should clean, which areas you should clean, have a checklist, ventilate the property, and also to prioritize high-touch surfaces like door handles and control switches and bathroom taps and things that people touch so often but really aren't aware of. And then they're saying review your linen management to help travelers with peace of mind. They're actually asking owners to avoid back-to-back stays. Now remember that for Airbnb and a lot of these other vacation rentals, this is a livelihood for most of these people. Some people do it for extra money, but I've been reading articles where people invested millions of dollars to buy a bunch of properties and just keep them as Airbnbs. And now there's nobody there. So they're really losing a lot of money. So the likelihood of them not scheduling back to back when people start getting ready to go back to booking is, you really have to question it. And with so many millions of people having their own properties on these Airbnb and VBRO websites, you really have to think about who's really taking the time to do all of this, because the cleaning processes that they're recommending are massive. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do them. You should, but you're going to have to probably pay somebody extra, and they're requiring 2 to 3 days between stays. So they're also telling people that have properties on their site that they should include what they're doing for cleaning in their descriptions and their property information booklets. And because if you're booking there, you're going to want to know about the additional steps that they're taking to reduce the spread of infection. But they also have to be careful about the words that they choose, because it's okay to say that you're taking extra care to disinfect your space due to COVID-19, but you can't make unsubstantiating claims like calling your space COVID-free. So if you see anything that says COVID-free, it's not true. And so there's also suggesting that they have a lot of support in place for guests, that they provide sufficient hand sanitizer, antibacterial soaps at all the property entry points in key areas, and implementing social distancing. They're suggesting that they ask people to remove their shoes when entering the property and leaving them there. And so it really is massive. But when you go and read Airbnb's practices, again, remember they're different from the pack. They have a recommended cleaning protocol. Stress on the word recommended. So, and then the question is, are the owners going to be penalized if they're not agreeing to commit? And the answer is no. Airbnb is going to have, and they don't have it in place yet, but you have to attest and swear to the fact that you're following all of their guidelines. You have to take a test to show that you understand what they're requiring you to do before you can actually post on your listing that you are following the guidelines. And if a guest stays there and feels that you're not, they can write that on the review, and then your ratings go down again. So they're not penalizing people that don't clean or don't offer real cleaning procedures. And that's the most interesting part. And that's the thing that you really, really want to be careful about. I'm going to take this off in a minute. I don't know that we have very much time, but Friday's going to be our last talk, and we're going to be talking about travel insurance. If you have any questions about this topic or anything with travel, please give me a call or send me an email, and I'm happy to help you. Let's see if we have time for any quick questions. So unmute you and let me know quickly. We may be disconnected, but does anybody have any questions on what we just talked about?
No.
Hey, Sue, this is Ida. Did you say Airbnbs were on hold right now?
No, I said that they were going to go public this year.
Okay.
Going to be with the stock exchange, they were going to go public, but because of COVID, they've stopped that. So they're operating as a separate entity, like Vacation Rentals by Owner or Home Away, which is part of Expedia. They're their own privately owned company.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Okay, I'm believing that this one is recording. Yes, it is. So it's going to cut us off in just a minute. And I want to thank you all for coming. This hopefully will be posted by tonight or tomorrow morning on our website if you want to go through it again.